How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to yet another video. Today I'm going to be doing a Kartboy short shifter install. I ordered this shifter from Amazon. Apparently these short shifters are discontinued because there's been a lot of rumors and reviews about short shifters rattling at higher RPMs. So I was looking into the IRP short shifter, the TMW, Billet Pro, all those different ones, but I was reading up on the forums and a lot of people said that all these shifters have rattling problems. So the reason I ended up going up with Kartboy is because Kartboy is a really well-known brand in the Subaru community, and it's priced at a pretty decent price point. It did come with the rear shifter bushing, which was already installed, so all I have left to install is the actual shifter itself. I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos on how to install this, so it should be fairly easy. And I really hope that I don't run into any rattling problems or any sort of issues with this shifter. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started installing this bad boy. Alright, the tools you're going to need to do this job is a ratchet set. I believe you're going to need a 10mm and a 12mm socket. You're also going to need a screwdriver, some Allen keys, and some grease, which Kartboy does supply. You're also going to need a tweezers or needle nose pliers. I am using tweezers because I couldn't find my pair of needle nose pliers, so hopefully this does the job. We'll find out. So the first step in this install is you're going to want to remove the whole shifter trim and the center console, so that way you can access the shifter and the shifter linkage on the bottom. Don't forget to unplug the harnesses from the traction control unit. And then you're going to want to remove these side panels that are holding onto the center console. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and pop out the USB and this little tray right here. And don't forget to unplug these as well. Now you're going to see 2 screws up front, 2 screws right here, and there's also going to be another 2 screws where the cup holder is at. Once you get those screws out, you can go ahead and pull out the whole center console. Like so. Oh, forgot one step. Don't forget to remove the e-brake boot. Then you can go ahead and remove this whole center console. And also don't forget to unplug the connectors for your seat warmers and the 12-volt battery source, or whatever you call this thing. And then you can go ahead and completely remove this center console. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this decent enough. You're going to want to remove these little plastic caps that hold this spongy part in. Okay, go ahead and set this aside. Okay, once you get that off, you can go ahead and start by removing these 12mm bolts here. Okay, got those out. Now we can take the metal plate off, along with this rubber-like shift boot thingamajigger. Alright, got that off. So now we can see the shifter connecting to this linkage down here. First thing you're going to want to do is remove the shifter from the linkage. So there is this boot down here that you're going to need to slide off, and it seems like mine is already ripped. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but there is a boot here that covers the shifter and the shifter linkage where they connect, and it's kind of fidgety. I heard that this was probably the most difficult part to do, but it seems like my this boot here is already ripped, so I'm gonna try my best to try to get this out, and hopefully it's not too hard. We'll find out. Okay, I was able to get this pin out without any needle nose pliers, so that's a good thing. Let's see if I can go ahead and slide this boot off. Okay, got this black washer off, which is also a very important piece. Make sure you don't lose those. Now it looks like we can pop this shifter out from the linkage. Should be relatively easy. Okay, got that out. And then we can finally unbolt the reverse lockout plate from the shifter plate, which I believe is a 10mm bolt. Okay, got the lockout. The shifter should be able to pop right out. Voila! And here's the old shifter. With both shifters out, we can kind of do a comparison. You can see that the Kartboy shifter is a little bit longer here versus the stock shifter. I believe this part is what makes the throws shorter because there's more leverage here to push it into gear. Before we install this shifter back into the car, you want to transfer this boot from the stock shifter onto the Kartboy shifter. Before we install the shifter back, smart idea to use the grease and to lube up this ball joint here all around. Make sure it's fully lubricated. Also want to grease up the shift linkage as well. Alright, so now that we have the shifter linkage lubricated up, we can go ahead and insert it into the shifter. Okay, got the shifter in. Now that the shift linkage is connected to the shifter, we can go ahead and reinsert the pin and washer. But an often overlooked step that I read on the forum somewhere that these O-rings are actually supposed to be used. I'm going to put it in between the washer and shifter, and hopefully these help reduce rattling. I'm not too sure if that's gonna work. I read it somewhere on the forum, so we'll find out. Alright, now we can reattach the reverse lockout plate that comes with the stock shifter. And then you're also going to want to use the new bolts that Kartboy gives you. And before I tighten that down, I'm going to want to get this boot back over here, which is going to be a bitch. Well, got the boot back on. We can go ahead and tighten down the bolts on the lockout plate. Alright guys, after fidgeting with this lockout plate for a minute, I've come to learn that if you adjust this plate all the way to the left by undoing these screws here, if you adjust it too far left, then the shifter won't want to go into second gear. So I adjusted the lockout plate somewhere in between so that when this little lip hits this plate, it stops it enough to, just far enough so I can go into second gear. And you also want to make sure that when you put it in reverse, you're going to lift this up, put it in reverse. You want to make sure that it sits right on top of this plate right here and holds it in reverse, and then you can just pull it out. And yeah, so everything looks good. The reverse lockout plate is bolted down. All the gears work for the most part, and it feels a lot shorter so far. So this part is done. We can go ahead and reassemble everything and then go out for a test drive and see if there's any rattling or any noise that So after test driving the car, it seems like the shifter itself isn't rattling. I think the rattling that you're hearing in the video is actually the rattling from my exhaust leak that I have in my front pipe. When I installed my exhaust the other day, I did notice that the front pipe had an exhaust leak and it was making that rattling sound, so I believe it's not the shifter itself, it's actually just my exhaust. But so far the shifter feels great. It's super short, it feels not as notchy as the stock shifter, and it kind of just changes the whole driving experience for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall all the interior pieces back in, and then we can go out for another test drive to see if the shifter really rattles at all. So unfortunately, I'm unable to use my Vertex shift knob with the Kartboy short shifter. For some odd reasons, there's not as much threading on the shifter itself for the Vertex to sit high enough, because when you thread the Vertex all the way down onto the shifter, the reverse lockout ring can't move up because it's being blocked by the inside of the shifter. For now, I'm going to be using my likewise shift knob. And I might have a solution for this. I'm thinking about purchasing some nuts from my local hardware store and try to space out the Vertex shift knob from the lockout collar. Hopefully I can use this, because this is my favorite shift knob, and one good thing that I really do like about this is that it's Darlin, so in the hot summer these kind of shift knobs don't get hot at all, and the summer over here in San Jose is so damn hot. I'm gonna head to Home Depot, pick up some nuts, try to space the shift knob away, and hopefully I can use the shift knob again. Alright guys, unfortunately I could not find a washer or nut that would fix the problem of me being unable to use the shift knob. So if you guys have any solutions as to how I can run the shift knob without running into the lockout problem, please let me know in the comments below. So that'll probably do it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching until the end. If you guys have the Kartboy short shifter, and if you guys are experiencing any issues like later on down the road, please let me know, because so far I'm enjoying it. I haven't heard any rattling from it, and it's doing pretty good. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.